Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is Young Beatrix and the Real Peter Rabbit. Hello, little one, curl up under the warm blanket. Tonight we are going to a tall house in old London. It has chimney pots like little hats. It is a foggy evening long, long ago. The street was called Bolton Gardens. Outside, a horse clopped past on damp cobblestones. Inside, on the very top floor, a small girl sat by a low table. Her name was Beatrix. Her hair was tied back with a velvet ribbon. "Hello, my dears," she whispered. "Have you been good today?" She was not talking to people. She was talking to her pets. In a wooden cage, 2 white mice cleaned their whiskers with tiny pink paws. In a soft basket lined with leaves, a hedgehog yawned. His prickles smelled like dry hay. In a glass jar with air holes, a green frog blinked once, then twice. "Mama says a young lady should not have so many creatures," Beatrix said softly. "But how could I leave any of you behind?" The fire crackled in the small grate. The room was warm and smelled of crayon, wax, and cocoa. Beatrix lived almost her whole day up here, far above the grown-up rooms. She did not go to school. A governess came up the stairs to teach her, then went away again. So Beatrix made her own friends. They had 4 legs or 2 wings or sometimes none at all. "You are my class," she told the hedgehog, "and I am your only teacher." The hedgehog rolled over and went back to sleep. He thought it was a very fair arrangement. Outside, the fog grew thicker. London was settling in for the night. A milk cart rattled far below. The gas lamps glowed yellow on the wet pavement. Beatrix lit a small candle on her drawing desk. "Now," she said, opening her sketchbook, "let us draw before bed." She picked up a pencil. She began with the hedgehog's tiny black eye. Every summer, the Potter family climbed onto a long, puffing train. The engine huffed and steamed. Smoke curled up into the sky. The train carried them far away from foggy London, past gentle fields, past sleeping sheep, past tall stone walls. They went to a place called the Lake District in the very north of England. The hills there were soft and green and round, like sleeping giants under blankets of grass. "Oh, breathe it in," her mother said, opening a window. "That is real country air." It smelled of wet ferns and wood smoke. Cows lowed in the far meadows. Beatrix's heart felt almost too full to speak. She brought her paints, of course, and a tiny magnifying glass on a brass chain. This summer, she was looking for something new, something small, something quiet, something hidden under leaves, mushrooms. "Father, may I go into the wood?" "Yes, little one, stay where I can see your bonnet." She walked through the bracken. Her boots squelched on the soft, mossy earth. She found a mushroom shaped like a teacup, then one shaped like a tiny umbrella, then one no bigger than her thumbnail. She lay flat on her stomach. She held the magnifying glass close. The mushroom had thin lines underneath, like the ribs of a paper fan. "Oh," she breathed, "you are wonderful." Back at the cottage, she painted them, one after another, year after year, hundreds of mushrooms. She wanted to know how they grew. She wanted to know how the tiny dust beneath their caps became baby mushrooms in the soil. That dust is called spores. Most grown-ups had never noticed it, but Beatrix had her magnifying glass and her endless patience. "Someday," she told a passing beetle, "I will write a real paper about all this." The beetle did not seem surprised. He had always thought she was a serious sort of girl. When the long summer ended, her notebook was heavy with mushroom paintings. The train carried them back to the city. But a piece of those green hills came home with her, in pencil and paint. A piece she would keep her whole life. The years went by the way years do. Beatrix grew taller. Her dresses grew longer, but she still drew animals every single day. One bright spring, a new friend came into her life. He was a rabbit, brown with a soft white belly and very long ears. She named him Peter Piper. She liked the way the words bounced together. "Hello, Peter," she said. "You are going to live with me now." He sniffed her hand. He smelled the beeswax polish on her drawing desk. He hopped right onto a clean piece of paper. He left a tiny pawprint of dust. "Oh," Beatrix laughed, "you are an artist too." Peter became her dearest small friend. He was clever and a little bit naughty. He liked to chew the corners of her best books. He liked to dig in the flower pots. One afternoon, he dashed straight into the kitchen and stole a sprig of parsley. "Peter Piper," cried the cook. "Out of my kitchen, sir." Peter raced back upstairs with the green leaves still in his teeth. Beatrix laughed so hard she had to sit down on the carpet. Of course, she drew him, hundreds of times. She drew his ears, soft as silk, his round, padded paws, his whiskery cheeks. Her favorite part was always his eye, a round, dark dot with a tiny white spot of light inside. That tiny white spot made him look alive on the page. She wrote letters to her young cousins and friends. In every letter, she gave Peter little adventures. Sometimes he visited a vegetable garden. Sometimes he met a duck. Sometimes he found a row of small lettuces. The children loved her letters. They read them aloud. They begged for more, please more. Peter dozed in a sunbeam on the carpet, washing his face with both paws. He had no idea he was about to become one of the most famous rabbits in the whole world. One soft, rainy spring, Beatrix heard sad news. A small boy she knew was sick in bed. His name was Noel. He was 4 years old and very lonely. His mother had once been Beatrix's governess. Beatrix loved their whole family. "I shall write him a letter," she said quietly. "A letter to make him smile." She sat at her desk. She picked up her pen. Peter Piper snoozed at her feet. "My dear Noel," she began, "I don't know what to write to you, so I shall tell you a story about 4 little rabbits." She wrote about a small rabbit who wore a blue jacket. He sneaked into a vegetable garden. He squeezed under a wooden gate. He nibbled radishes and French beans. She drew tiny pictures down the side of every page. She gave the rabbit a familiar name. His name was Peter. Noel got the letter. He read it again and again. He read it to his brothers. He read it to his old stuffed bear. Years later, Beatrix wrote to Noel. "Noel," she asked, "may I borrow that letter back?" She copied it out. She added more pictures. She made it into a tiny book, just the right size for small hands. In 1902, the book was printed for everyone to read. It was called The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Children all over the world began to love it. Mothers and fathers read it at bedtime, just like this one. Beatrix wrote many more books. About a mouse in a waistcoat, about a hedgehog who washed laundry, about squirrels and ducks and old tabby cats. She also wrote a serious paper about her mushrooms, about how spores grew into new little fungi in the soil. In those days, women were not invited to the scientific meetings, so a kind professor read her paper out loud for her. People listened politely. Her drawings were so careful, so true, that scientists still look at them today. When she had grown older, Beatrix went back to the Green Lake District for good. She bought small farms. She kept sheep with funny black faces and thick white woolly coats. She walked her gardens at sunset in soft brown boots and a wide straw hat. Wild rabbits hopped across the path in front of her just like Peter Piper long ago. She would smile and nod to them, as if they were old, dear friends, and maybe they were. And so, London also slowly fell asleep. Good night.